Story that made national headlines nearly 20 years ago. 3 Duke lacrosse players falsely accused of rape. And for the first time, the woman who accused them admits she made it up.
Just called out to me. And I'm just so angry I didn't know who to call.
What had happened at Duke University.
I saw them all come out like a big frat house, and me and my black girlfriend are walking by, and they called her.
Fortunately, they're young men, and sometimes young men make bad decisions, make some bad judgments. And that's what this whole incident's about.
Is that he said they were guilty before he examined the evidence. He said they were guilty before any police reports were written. He said they were guilty before they questioned all of the witnesses in the case.
I hope that they can forgive me.
No one deserves to be sexually assaulted, regardless of their profession or regardless of what they have done.
And I hope that they can forgive me.
Pull up one of the boys' names, my name, and then, on the computer you saw the word rape, sexual assault, next to your name.
What's up, guys? Hope you are having a good day, and welcome back. We are not unaware of the fact that men and women express violence in different ways. Because men are bigger and stronger, physical and direct act of violence are the go-to way for men to express violence, and on the other hand, because women are the opposite of men, smaller and weaker, they are more likely not to do it like men. And many studies have revealed that women express violence in a more insidious and sadistic way, and that involve trying to destroy the intended target's reputation. But unfortunately, we live in a world where only the male way of violence expression is punished, and because of that, there is an incentive for women to continue using false allegations and provocation in order to get men in trouble.
Carolina's Attorney General will dismiss all charges against the 3 young men. Tonight, an inside look at how the case that once looked so strong fell apart so completely. It was just over a year ago that an anonymous woman's cry for help shocked a nation.
And he just called out to me. And I'm just so angry I didn't know who to call.
What had happened at Duke University.
I saw them all come out like a big frat house, and me and my black girlfriend are walking by, and they called her.
On one side, the best of the best, the privileged young scholar athletes of the Duke University lacrosse team. 46 of the 47 players were white. On the other side, a 27-year-old black woman, a mother, who worked part-time as a stripper while attending college herself on the other side of town. And her accusation wasn't just name-calling. She said she was gang raped. There seemed to be a lot of evidence to prove it. An email uncovered by the police that one lacrosse player sent early the next morning, hinting at what seemed to be the player's shocking and violent intentions. I've decided to have some strippers over, it read. However, there will be no nudity. I plan on killing the as soon as they walk in and proceeding to cut their skin off.
81 indictments, 12 of the 18 jurors sitting
Within 2 weeks, the story had riveted viewers across the country. It seemed everyone had an opinion, and many believed the alleged victim.
They've gotten away with a lot for a very long time. Why not go home and celebrate? You don't think you're going to get in trouble?
Some of the responses from college officials fueled the fire.
Of course they did. The university decided to throw the men under the bus with absolutely no evidence. In a gynocentric society, all it takes to destroy a man's life is a woman's word. Even though the law says that you are innocent until proven guilty, in a society where women can vote, you are guilty the moment you do something that displeases women. When the affair was made public, nobody waited to see what the investigation will reveal, but all of them wanted to crucify the men.
Unfortunately, they're young men, and sometimes young men make bad decisions, make some bad judgments. And that's what this whole incident's about.
Just 3 weeks after the allegations surfaced, a stunning blow to the prosecutor's case. The DNA collected from the rape kit did not match any of the lacrosse players. The defense crowed.
None of the boys in that house that night are at all surprised in any way, shape, or form, because when you know you haven't done anything wrong, you don't worry about a test result.
A lot of people are asking a lot of questions, sir. Can you help us sort this out?
But the district attorney, Mike Nifong, pressed on.
My presence here means that this case is not going away.
He arrested 3 of the lacrosse players, Reed Seligman, Colin Finnerty, and David Evans. Arrested them despite the lack of DNA evidence, and despite the fact he still had not interviewed the accuser. Though it did come out that when she was 18, the accuser filed a rape claim against 3 different men for raping her when she was 14. Those charges were never brought. More and more, it seemed, it was the prosecutor's zeal for the case, not the facts, that was making news. Linda Fairstein is one of the nation's most highly regarded prosecutors.
We heard the DA vouching for his case in ways that most prosecutors don't do publicly, certainly not before the investigators have completed an investigation of the case.
You know, I no longer get to go anywhere in my community without everybody knowing who I am.
Public opinion began to turn. The prosecutor seemed to be enjoying the attention too much.
There was pressure put on me to do nothing. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's not doing your job.
The prosecutor in that case had political aspirations. That's the reason why he pushed on with the case, because that is how you get women's support. You don't need facts and justice to get women's support. All you need is to validate their feelings and make them look like they are angels, even if they are the ones in the wrong, especially when they are in the wrong. The moment you remove all moral agency from women, that's when you start to gain women's favor. It is because of that reason that no politician talks about women being eligible for the draft, even though they have the right to vote, or about women getting leniency in criminal cases with shorter sentences than men for the same crime. Because women have the right to vote and they are the majority of voters, justice is being corrupt to benefit them. If you think I'm exaggerating, bring me proof of the opposite.
My name is Dave Evans, and I'm a captain of the Duke University men's lacrosse team.
Dave Evans was the first of the accused to speak out and declare his innocence.
These allegations are lies, fabricated, and they will be proven wrong.
More troubling evidence began to spill out. Defendant Reed Seligman is seen here taking money out of an ATM at the same time he was supposed to be raping the accuser. But perhaps most devastating was this woman, the dancer who had performed alongside the accuser that night at the Duke party. She said if there was a rape, she did not see it.
I never saw a rape occur. Everybody knows, I think. It's hard for me to remember who knows what, because the facts are so simple to me, so elementary.
The facts, as Kim Roberts told them, were that the lacrosse players were disappointed in their striptease, that racial slurs were used, and that then they left. As she told Chris Cuomo, the accuser wanted it to appear she had been attacked.
What did she say to you that you haven't told people before?
Put marks on me. Go ahead. That's what I want. Go ahead. And it chilled me to the bone.
Despite all this, Mike Nifong wasn't backing off. He began to duck the cameras he had once sought out. By December, the prosecution was falling apart. Mike Nifong's own witness, DNA expert Brian Meehan, punched a huge hole in the case when he testified that he and the district attorney had agreed to withhold DNA evidence from the defense.
You can't make this shit up. You can't make this shit up. Y'all heard it.
Women have always wanted men's place. They have always been envious of men because there is absolutely nothing that they can do without a man getting involved. For that reason, most women resent men. But men's true enemy is, and have always been, other men, especially older men. Older men have always used women to fight a proxy war against younger men. Behind the guise of morality, unity, charity, and honor, since they can no longer send younger men to die in droves in senseless wars like before, here comes democracy. Imagine being willing to send the country to shit by giving the right to vote to someone who is incapable of bearing the responsibilities that come with that right just because you want power, and then use honor, patriotism, and compassion to make the younger generation clean up the mess.
Casey Johnson is a Brooklyn College professor and an ABC News consultant.
Jim Cooney, defense attorney, took over the questioning, and he asked Meehan, did you enter into an agreement with the district attorney to intentionally withhold evidence? And Meehan said yes.
Withheld. It wasn't just that none of the lacrosse players' DNA had been found in the accuser's rape kit. The DNA of 5 other men was found and not disclosed. But the prosecutor still maintained he had done nothing wrong.
There was no attempt to hide anything. from the way the report was done.
I've never heard another instance, never, since my first DNA case in 1986, of a prosecutor saying to a forensic biologist, just give me the results I want to hear. Unconscionable.
Equally shocking, 9 months into the case, the DA, by his own admission, had still not interviewed the accuser. And when he did, in December, he discovered her story had changed. She was unable to say whether she had been raped at all.
This case represents the highest profile case of prosecutorial misconduct in modern American history.
Oh, I think one of the tragedies of this case is that there is no way to make these three young men who were accused whole again if the accusations have been false. There'll always be the asterisk that he was the defendant in the Duke Lacrosse case. That's why you don't rush to judgment in these cases.
With the case falling apart, Mike Nifong now faced charges of his own, allegations that his behavior violated the state ethics regulations. And that's why prosecutors need to be held to such a high standard. The facts are not always as they may seem at first. This prosecutor goes on trial on Friday, facing disbarment for his behavior in this case. A final note, District Attorney Mike Nifong denies all of the ethics charges. And as for the three defendants, one, Dave Evans, graduated from Duke last spring. The other two young men have declined Duke's invitation to return, at least so far.
The only reason why they decided to follow procedure in this case is because he did this to men. If he had done it to women, all of his old head's friends and all politicians would have asked for his scalp on the spot. Even with all the evidence showing that the young men were innocent, and even with the other strippers' testimony showing that the men were innocent, the prosecutor still pressed on because society takes a kick out of seeing men suffer, especially if they are young.
You had pictures of people who were there and pictures of people who had nothing to do with it. The accuser was shown pictures of everyone who's at the party, all of the lacrosse players. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. She could pick anyone, and she would pick someone who was there.
You've also spoken with the other dancer who was there that night, along with the accuser, a young lady named Kim Roberts. Let's take a look at that.
In the police statement, she describes the rape in this way. 3 guys grabbed Nikki, that's you. Brett, Adam, and Matt grabbed me. They separated us at the master bedroom door while we tried to hold on to each other. Brett, Adam, and Matt took me into the bathroom. Were you holding on to each other? Were you pulled apart? Is that true?
No.
Did she give you any reason to believe that she had been assaulted or abused in any way?
Mm-mm.
None whatsoever?
Mm-mm.
Did she at any point that night say anything about being in pain or having been hurt in any way?
Mm-mm. She obviously wasn't hurt, or because, she was fine.
So she disputes the accuser's story.
Well, she disputes the accuser's story as it was given in the accuser's police statement.
Mm-hmm.
She refuted every point.
How many different versions have we heard of what happened that night?
The accuser has had several different accounts. First it was 3, then it was 5. She changed the number of people, the description of the people. She couldn't recognize some of the people from the photo lineups. When she finally picked out one person, she said, oh yeah, that was him, but he had a mustache. He'd never had a mustache.
What's been established in terms of DNA evidence in this case?
Bottom line is there was none. I mean, the players voluntarily offered to give their DNA. The district attorney said this will rule out all of the innocent people. It turned out that there was no DNA from any player on or inside her or in that bathroom, with the exception of perhaps Dave Evans, because it was his bathroom. So she said she lost fingernails in a struggle during this rape. Well, there were 2 fingernails found in the trash can. There was DNA evidence that could have belonged to Dave Evans, but his argument is it was my bathroom, my trash can, my toilet tissue, my dental floss, all of these things that you throw in the trash can, surely my DNA is going to be in the trash can.
Your report and others just continue to raise questions about what real hard evidence there is in this case. What sort of doubts are there about the district attorney, Mike Nifong, who was so confident in prosecuting this case? He said there was no doubt in his mind that this young woman had been raped.
I think the biggest difficulty with the prosecutor, DA Mike Nifong, is that he said they were guilty before he examined the evidence. He said they were guilty before any police reports were written. He said they were guilty before they questioned all of the witnesses in the case. He called them guilty.
Think it'll go to trial?
I think he's determined to take it to trial, but if people there look at the evidence, they say, how can he go to trial based on this kind of evidence?
But wait, there's more.
The woman who accused 3 Duke lacrosse players of rape is still insisting she was attacked. She makes the claim in a new memoir. Crystal Magnum appeared publicly Thursday for the first time since making the allegations more than 2 years ago.
No one deserves to be sexually assaulted, regardless of their profession or regardless of what they have done. I'm a real person. I have feelings. I'm not just an exotic dancer. I'm not just someone who tried to frame someone who was innocent of sexual assault. My only intentions were for justice, and I wanted justice for myself.
She says in her book that she's not looking forward to opening old wounds, but that she had to defend herself. Prosecutors determined that her accusations against the 3 players were false, and her renewed allegations are triggering a threat of a lawsuit from the family of one of the exonerated players. The book is available online. Magnum wouldn't answer questions about details of the case at the news conference.
The woman who falsely accused Duke lacrosse players of raping her is now charged with murder in her boyfriend's death. Crystal Mangum was charged Monday in Durham with first-degree murder and 2 larceny charges. Her boyfriend, 46-year-old Reginald Day, died after nearly 2 weeks at a hospital. Mangum was charged with stabbing him earlier this month.
She's in custody for what was initially a very serious offense, which now has got potentially extremely serious.
State of North Carolina versus Crystal Gail Mangum. File number 11 CRS 2609. We, the 12 members of the jury, unanimously find the defendant to be not guilty, larceny chosen in action, $300 cash check. State of North Carolina versus Crystal Gail Mangum. File number 11 CRS 2607. We, the 12 members of the jury, unanimously find the defendant to be guilty of second-degree murder, signed November 22nd, 2013. By 4-person, Therese Bryant. Is this your verdict? So say you are.
Yes. Call the jury, please. So, ladies and gentlemen, the clerk is going to ask each of you a series of questions, starting with the 4-person. If you'll just listen carefully to the question and respond to the question as they're being asked. Clerk.
Yes.
Ms. Mangum, the jury has returned a verdict of second-degree murder in this offense for the murder of Reginald Day. I'm going to impose a judgment within the presumptive range. In this case, I'm ordering you incarcerated for a term of 170 months minimum, 216 months maximum in the custody of the Department of Correction. Mangum, she's in custody.
If you're going to go ahead and have a notice of appeal on open court, request the appellate defender reappointed.
Notice of appeal has been given. The appellate defender is appointed to represent this matter in all circumstances.
Thank you.
Fast forward to 2024, that demon is in prison serving her sentence for murder. And she decided to come clean.
The story that made national headlines nearly 20 years ago. 3 Duke lacrosse players falsely accused of rape. And for the first time, the woman who accused them admits she made it up. WRL's Kelsey Coffey joins us live from Duke's campus this morning. And Kelsey, this is the first time Crystal Mangum has gone on record saying she lied.
Yes, Renee, this morning we're following this new development in a story that shook Duke's campus and the entire nation. Crystal Mangum just admitted that she lied about those rape allegations years ago. She was recently interviewed from prison and was featured on a podcast called Let's Talk to to cat. For the first time, Mangum says she made the whole thing up. Back in 2006, Mangum was performing as a stripper at a Duke's men lacrosse team party. She claimed that 3 players trapped her in a bathroom and raped her, but her story was inconsistent. Then Attorney General Roy Cooper dismissed all charges against the men, declaring them innocent. In her interview, Mangum says she hopes the players will forgive her and they didn't deserve to go through what they did. Kelsey Coffey, WREL News, live in Durham.
Durham DA Mike Nifong pursued charges against the 3 players Mangum accused. He was later found guilty of lying about DNA evidence that would have cleared them. Nifong was disbarred. The players sued Duke University for how it handled their case. That lawsuit was later settled for an undisclosed amount of money, and they also sued the city of Durham. Mangum is now in prison, as Kelsey mentioned, after being convicted of killing her boyfriend, Reginald Day, in 2011.
And I testified falsely against them by saying that they raped me when they didn't. And that was wrong. And I betrayed the trust of a lot of other people who believed in me. And made up a story that wasn't true because I wanted validation from people and not from God. And that was wrong. And I hope that they can forgive me.
From the time she made that false allegations to the moment she confessed, many more men have had their lives ruined by women false rape allegations. There is even a book sold on Amazon that teaches women how to effectively leverage false allegations for the sole purpose of destroying a man's life. And absolutely nothing has happened. The judicial system didn't restructure in order to take false allegations seriously and punish the culprits. And what is even more baffling is that men and men in positions of power are saying and doing absolutely nothing to hold women accountable. This situation just shows who is men's true enemy, and men's true enemy is other men. Women are also the enemy, but they are enemy of circumstances when they are allowed. Mostly they are just useful idiots because some men use women to wage a proxy war against other men. Women can do these kinds of things and face absolutely no consequences because there are actually men who are willing to protect them, not only men who are involved in politics, because women can vote, and the best way to get women's vote is by not holding them accountable. You also have your white knight simp, men who are so pathetic that they will sell their soul to the devil just to get female validation. Those are also the people who make OnlyFans prostitutes rich. And last but not least, you have quote-unquote conservative men, the men who always say that women will be better if men were better. These are the men who absolve women of any and all moral agency when women behave immorally. As a man, it is important that you know who has your best interest at heart, who are your friends and your foes. And in today's world, every institution is against men, especially young men. Even the church is against men. In many regards, the church is even more against men than the other institutions. But again, at the end of the day, life is a choice. That will be it for this video. Have a good one.